Well, I have my easel here, and I'll show you the inside. It's quite important to keep things quite compact, because very often you'll be going into the landscape and taking all of your stuff, effectively a small studio, into the landscape. But you have to pack fairly light because you'll be carrying it all yourself. So inside here I have my panels. So I like to paint on linen, and these slot inside my easel. And then in here I have my colours and my palette, and then this slides out, and under there I can have all my oil paints. It closes up. And then I have my tripod, so I'll take this with me, and this screws on to my easel. And then I have various things like my sketchbook. I'll often do a quick sketch of the landscape before I paint it. Brushes, I have paper towel just to wipe up any mess. And I have in here a thinner turpentine, just to thin the oil paints. I often thin the paint before I paint. I tend to do a thin wash first. And that's about it. So we're here on Stockbridge Down. I think this is a really beautiful view, just outside of Winchester. It interests me partly because we've got these beautiful layers of the landscape, the beautiful sky, and the wildflowers in front. And it's that sense of we're kind of above and it's restful. So yeah, I'm going to show you my process. So I begin with, I've got some turpentine here and I paint in oils, and this is a linen board. So I start out just by using very thin down oil paint and getting a feeling for the composition. So the first decision really to make is, am I focusing on the sky? That might affect where I put the horizon line. Or am I focusing on the land, and then I may, as a result, put the horizon line here. So that would be the first decision I'd make. So today I'm going to focus on the sky, so I'll put my horizon line around about here, and I'm just going to feel it. This is just to get a feel and a guide for where I want to put things, and because it's very thin oil, I can rub it out, and if I change my mind as I go along. So I'll just start to put in some lines of what I can see, just to work from, and just start to feel the landscape. Okay. So a lot of plein air painters will paint in what's called a limited palette. This means that you may only paint from sometimes 3, 4, or 5 colours. And this is because from these colours you can get a whole range of other colours, and they tend to then mean that the painting and the colours in the painting are unified. And a landscape is quite a complicated thing, and there's a lot of visual information, so it's often a way that an artist will unify a painting. And different parts of the country will have different colours. So particularly in Hampshire at the moment, we have these beautiful yellow fields. When the farmers have harvested, the colours will change. And then in the winter, we tend to get more reds and browns and purples. In the summer, much more of these yellow ochres and greens. So a plein air painter will limit their palette according to their landscape, but also according to the time of year, and they will change it depending on what's happening in the seasons.
I've always been really interested in clouds and skies, and that comes through in my paintings. Um, Often when I look in a landscape, I'm often quite amazed by the clouds. And clouds transmit quite a feeling and atmosphere. They're very, very atmospheric. Um, and I love that sense of vastness and that sense of space that clouds give us. Very often they can be quite towering, and then at other times they may be very delicate and small. Um, and so I love to capture that in my landscapes. They fascinate me. The different colours you get at the times of day, um, uh, and the atmospheric effects. I love to bring into my work and to get feelings across about the landscape and the sense of vastness of being outdoors.
It's been wonderful to have Fred Appleyard's paintings on display at the Arc. They've been very inspirational, and this kind of scene on Stockbridge Down reminds me a lot of his work. He has a lot of the yellow ochres. Some of his paintings have a beautiful vista like this, and for a plein air painter it's been wonderful to see these paintings. They're very inspirational, and his work is something that other plein air painters like myself can look to and be inspired by.